Hello, my name is Keshwani. It's Keshwani, Keshwani. We are here because we want to prepare for GMAT. We have been solving GMAT math problems out of this book here, GMAT Review, the official guide, the 13th edition. If you do not own this book already, purchase one immediately. You're going to need it. The problem that we are about to solve is the one that you will find on page number 155. The very first problem on page 155, rather page 290, and today is our lesson number 216. Problem number 155. In this problem, we are told that in the rectangular coordinate system above, OP is less than PQ. Let's make a note here, OP is less than PQ. So what we're going to do is we're going to redraw the picture that they give us, but in a manner that brings this out, that makes it easy to see, make it more conspicuous, make it more salient. In other words, exaggerate the fact that OP is less than PQ. OP is less than PQ. Well, so here's our O, here's our P. As you can see, O to P is less than P to Q. So far so good. The question simply is the area of the triangle OPQ greater than 48? That's all they want to know. If the area of this triangle is greater than 42. Let's see what they tell us. In the first statement, they tell us that the coordinates of P are 6 and 8. Let's put it here. 6 and 8. Which means if we were to drop a perpendicular from P to here, let's call it OPQ, let's call it R. This will be 6 and 0. And because of the fact that we are told that OP is shorter than PQ, that also implies in turn that if this distance from O to R, if this is 6, then this distance from R to Q, whatever it is more than 6. Let's make a note of it. So this part, the coordinates of P are 6 and 8, that implies that O to R is 6. And if that's true, then that in return would imply that R to Q, whatever it is, has to be more than 6. That in turn implies that O to Q must be greater than 12. This distance here, we do not know what it is, but whatever it is more than 12. Now we are ready to figure out the area. The area of a triangle is simply 1/2 base times height. The base we just found out is more than 12. The height we know is from here to here, which is 8. This is the height, which is 8. This is how we write something more than 12. Just put down 12 with a plus sign on it. Something less than 17, you put down 17 with a negative sign on it. That's all. So that's it. That's the area. This is the area of the triangle that we're talking about, OPQ. 2 drops it by, divides into 8 4 times, and something more than 12 times 4 is going to be something more than 48. So the question was, is the area of this triangle more than 48? The answer is yes. The answer is yes. Again, the point here, as I always remind you, is not that the answer turns out to be yes. The point is, we are able to give a definitive yes or a no. So the first statement is enough. A, D, B, C, E. Because we just found out that the first statement by itself does the job, we know now that the answer cannot be B, C, or E. It would have to be either A or D. Let's look at second statement, shall we? So we have to erase everything that we got from the first statement. Everything from the first statement has to go. Let's look at second statement. In the second statement, they tell us that the coordinates of Q are 13 and 0. 13 and 0, which makes perfect sense because we just found out from the first statement that the base of the triangle was more than 12. Well, it's 13 it turns out. But it doesn't contradict it. If the previous statement told us that the base was more than 12, the second statement is not going to tell us that it's 11. That won't make any sense. So again, the area of the triangle OPQ is 1/2 base, which we now know is 13, times the height, which is this guy, which we do not know. There is no way to figure out the height just by knowing the x-coordinate of Q. Just by knowing the x-coordinate of Q, there is no way we can figure out the height. Second statement is not going to enable us to answer the question, is the area of the triangle more than 48? To which our answer would be, how the hell do we know? The answer is A. Only the first statement by itself does the job. Only the first statement by itself does the job. You want to do one more? Let's do the next one. Number 156. In 156, they tell you that x times n does not equal 0. The question is, what's the value of s? And they tell us that s equals 2 over n over 1 over x plus 2 over 3x. Now let's listen. Before we do anything, before we even glance at the statements, when they give you something cumbersome as this, something as tedious and something as hellish as this, it's not actually hellish, but something as annoying as this, the smart thing always is to simplify this damn thing as much as you can before you look at the answer choices. Because whatever they're asking us, what the question here is, what's the value of s? Whatever they're giving us in the two statements will be much easier to use if we have this thing in the simplified form. So let's do it. So this is simply same as the top part, which is 2 over n, times the bottom part, which is, if you take the common denominator, let's first take care of the common denominator first. Let's do this separately here. 1 over x plus 2 over 3x. Common denominator will be 3x. It will be 3 plus 2, which is 5 over 3x. That's what it boils down to. The bottom part boils down to 5 over 3x. So we have 2 over n over 5 over 3x, which is same as 2 times n over 3x over 5. 3x over 5, which further boils down to 6x over 5n. Voila. 6x over 5n. You're going to make a note here. 6x over 5n. Now we are ready to look at the first statement. The first statement tells us that x equals 2n. There you go, x equals 2n. We can put it right in here. So we know that s equals 6x over 5n, and x we know is 2n. Let's put it in here. X we know is 2n, and 6x x we know equals 2n. We are told here in the first statement x equals 2n. Put it in here. So it's 6 times 2n. 6 times 2n over 5 times n. 5 times n. N is going to drop out. And the question was, how much is s? S is simply 12 over 5. The first statement by itself does the job beautifully. A, D, B, C, E. Because the first statement by itself works, we know now that the answer, whatever it is, cannot be B, C, or E. It will have to be either A or D. Let's look at second statement, shall we? Listen, we don't need any of this thing. All we need to know is that s equals 6x over 5. Let's leave it there. I was going to erase everything, but let's just leave it there. The second statement tells us that n equals half. So again, s is equal to 6 times x over 5 times n, which we know is half. But the question here is, what is x? There is no way to figure out the value of x based on what they're giving, what is given to us. Unless we know the value of x, we know how much n is. We know s equals 6x over 5n, but unless we know what x is, we cannot figure out the s. So second statement does not do the job. Second statement is not sufficient. Therefore the answer is A. The answer is A. That's all. I'll see you tomorrow, okay? Bye now.